Falconer X, appreciate that so much, of course. Thanks for being here and contributing. As always, sir, recruiting services pick up all the usual suspects. Winning coaches find underrated players. The great Miami teams did this. How do we do it again?
I think that there's some underrated players that you're going to get and you're going to be able to develop them. Gregory Rousseau. He's a guy who just didn't have 3 square meals, really. He didn't have a proper nutrition program. Because he's, 6'6", 205, playing wide receiver and safety. Get him in here with a weight and a nutrition program, and all of a sudden, bang, you saw what happened, right? So you're going to get maybe a couple of those. But the thing about it is, again, with the proliferation of digital film and like the internet making the world smaller, I can text a coach. You know what I mean? If I'm Michigan, if I'm Penn State, right? If I'm anybody, I can text a coach. Well, I'm Nick Saban. Coach, this is Saban from Alabama. You're at Titusville. You're at Yulee. You're at Duncan U. Fletcher High School. Who you got this year? Nah, Coach, I got him. All right, cool. Well, I'll text you next year. Hey, have a great season. Let me know how it goes and everything. Continue that, communication. Whereas in the past, if you didn't get out to Travis Powell on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and yes, all of those days are when high school football was played at Travis Powell Stadium in northern Miami-Dade County. If you didn't get out there Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, you didn't see those guys. You know what I mean? And it's just different. So you're going to need to develop whoever you get on the roster anyway, but especially if you're going to take those 3-star guys, your 3, 4, 5-year developmental guys. I've talked about them before, and we've had some of them. Danny Isadora ended his career 5th-year senior as a second-team All-ACC. John Feliciano, same thing. Both of those guys are still in the NFL. Those were both guys who were developed a little bit. David Njoku was a 3-star. Incredibly athletic, but very raw. You develop him, first-round draft pick, still in the league. So you're going to have to develop guys, but you're also going to need to get the top guys or blue chip guys and have them come in and be dudes, right? If you think back to Duke Johnson, opener at Boston College, scored once or twice? 5-star, everybody's All-American, came in and did 5-star All-American things and is the all-time leading rusher. We didn't have to wait 3, 4, 5 years to see that. So the guys who need to come in, who you intentionally plan to come in and be at the top of your roster, they need to do that. And then the other guys you need to develop. But finding this one diamond in the rough, 2-star, nobody knows about him, from the Bahamas and plays everything and can do everything and ends up being the number 1 overall draft pick, that's a pipe dream. And I hope that you guys can let that go. But there are ways to get guys who are maybe a little bit under a blue chip rating and develop them over the course of time while still creating the space for your superstar recruits to become your star level players and your superstar program changing players before going on to the next level. Both of those developmental paths, or all 3 of them, if you want to talk about it being 3 different ones, all those can occur, but you have to intentionally plan and work to make those happen. And I think that's more important than finding diamonds in the rough or underrated guys. Because look, everybody wants the rated guys. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted Jerry Jeudy. Everybody wanted Amari Cooper. Everybody wanted Teddy Bridgewater. Everybody wanted all these guys. And it's for a reason. So you got to get those guys as well.
Cam, do you think you could make a quote-unquote generic all-star team out of, let's say, 2-star recruits? Like J.J. Watt was a 2-star, correct?
J.J. Watt was a 2-star, and he went to Central Michigan and he played tight end. And then he transferred to Wisconsin and grew 4 inches and gained 40 pounds of lean muscle. Like the Khalil Mack at Buffalo. Same thing. Grew 1.5 inches, gained 35 pounds of lean muscle, and got faster and quicker while doing it. Those transformations are the things that need to happen for your 2-stars to really become that. But Elliott, I think he wrote it. I don't know if he wrote it at SB Nation before he went over to 247 or if it's on 247, but he evaluated what it took takes for 2-star guys to turn into, high-level draft picks and NFL stars. And it's a body-changing experience of growth, and that's both in height and in weight of lean muscle while getting more athletic while doing it. It's the very few that are able to accomplish such a task and have the, just the growth and the personal growth and developmental path for their bodies to have that happen. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that you can get to a team, but you could probably mention some guys who are like 2 stars or 3 stars that ended up developing to being household names. You could probably build that. Yeah.
Because if you're Miami and you're expected to bring in a top 10 to 15 class in the nation, and you do too much of what Falconer X mentioned, then the probability of you hitting, even if you're very confident in your evaluation process, if you can't take too many shots at those guys and miss, and the probability is high that you're going to miss.
Yeah.
You can't have a class of 20 and take a shot at like 7 guys like that.
Well, and this is going to be uncomfortable for Canes fans. We can, and we did. And if you look back at some of those, some of those Randy Shannon, some of those Al Golden classes, they were the hits, but there were some incredible misses and lots of them. And again, that kind of class construction is what leads me to believe that this Florida State class is trending down, even with superstars at the top, because they got all of these random just a guy 3 stars, and they're trying to, well, we're going to develop them, and they're going to change their bodies, and they're going to da-da-da-da. Seen that movie. I know how it ends, and it's not good for you because we lived that in Miami for many, many a time. So you can do it. You just will not get the results that you're looking for in the doing of that.
Husias, thank you so much for the pronunciation clarification. This was a Midwesterner Mark trying to pronounce your name just based on the spelling there. So Husias, thank you for being here. Thank you for the clarification, and welcome aboard for the live show. All right, let's go grab a couple super chats coming in. Once again, Falconer X and Mike Williams, we appreciate you. And let's go to back to Falconer X. What you got? Florida State's class is lean on top recruits with lots of 2 and 3 stars, so I guess you can see that as a plan for failure. Yes, that's what Cam just outlined. Then we also have... Yeah, see, that's been my... And I am no recruiting guy. Again, I soak up a lot of information because I talk to guys like Cam like all day. Not to his degree, but guys that are following it either because they really follow it or they just follow Texas Tech, fill in the blank, and by extension, they know who they're recruiting and going after. And so I just soak up names and numbers in regards to recruiting numbers. And I've even been looking at this Florida State class thinking, man, this is a high wire act. It looks real impressive at the top, but then it really plunges into the 80th tight end in the country and the 104th offensive tackle in the country, and a lot of dudes that you're going to have in your class of 20 or 22, but you don't want them in your top 10.
I'm going to read you off some numbers here. 168 in the state, not ranked nationally. 88 in position, not ranked nationally. 67 in position, not ranked nationally. JUCO, so exclusion. 98 in position, not ranked nationally. 96 in position, not ranked nationally. 82nd in position, not ranked nationally. 79th in position, not ranked nationally. 63rd position, not ranked nationally. 75th in position, not ranked nationally. 74th, not ranked. All of those guys, 98th at his position, 836 in the country. 72nd at position, 827 in the country. 95th at his position, 825 in the country. 31st position, 687 in the country. 28th at position, 657 in the country. 41st at his position, 577 in the country. Every last one of those players was in the same class as third position, 20th overall. First position, 23rd overall. That was Miami's 2012 recruiting class, with Duke Johnson and Tracy Howard at the top, 2 5-stars, top 3 at their positions, top 25 overall. And then all the other... Bro, I'm saying, like, this is not... If if you're new to this, like, with all due respect to you, I'm true to this, bro. Like, I've seen this, we've lived this. Like, I was blogging about all that back then. You can read all the stuff that I wrote. You can read stuff that was, in other places, that people, we have had these discussions. Me and Bud Elliott, me and Andrew Ivins. You can read John Garcia Jr., who's now at Sports Illustrated, Sanjay Kirpalani, Tyler Donahue, all these guys in the world of recruiting. Bro, these are things that have been said, and there's more. That's not everybody. If you're a Chad Simmons guy, you're a Woodrow, what's his name? Woodrow Wilson, not Wilson. Woody from Rivals, Sean's guy. Bill Kurelik, Rivals, writes for O State, been down to South Florida Express trials down here. There's so many guys. We've had these conversations year over year over year over year, bro. And again, you go look it up. So their class is very similar in formation right now. And each one of those first guys who was not ranked nationally, I'm going to tell you the names, Canes fans, right? And so you can relive this with me. David Thompson, baseball player, Davey Baseball, cool, went to baseball. Jaquan Ivory, Jake O'Donnell. I'm skipping Ladarius Gunner because he was a JUCO, and so, yeah, he's the outlier. Josh Witt from Cypress Bay, Gabe Terry from West Palm Beach Central, Nate Dortch, Larry Hope, Danny Dillard, Vernon Davis, Antonio Crawford.
Not the Vernon Davis.
Not the Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis, the cornerback who went to Coral Reef. Not the other one from over yonder. But, outside of that, like, which one of those guys, what was the favorite play of the guys that I just named that they had on the football field here in Miami? Not talking about Dave Thompson playing third base and dropping bombs on the baseball field. No. Those guys, and there were some that I didn't even get up because there were guys who were ranked. Jacoby Briscoe from Louisiana, Preston Dewey, Gray Crow, Damari Jones, Jawan Blue, Jontavius Carter. Where were the plays? Where was the impact on the field? Where was the development from all these guys and moving forward and being better? And yeah, they're a 3-star, but we're going to unlock that potential. Where was it? What was the favorite play? Somebody in the chat tell me right now, what was the favorite play from any of those guys that I just named? You can't. You can't. And if you can, it's probably a single rep from a single day of practice that they leaked the film. Because the student or the student athlete, the player, was watching the film, took up their cell phone and said, yo, I did that, and posted it on social. And so then you saw that one single snap. None of those guys made a play. Not a single one that you will remember. Not a single, even halfway decent play on the football field on the varsity level for Miami Hurricanes. I'm not talking about intramurals. I'm not talking about in the weight room. I'm not talking about in practice. I don't really care about practice. No, games. They're going to win games. Where did any of those guys make a play? Not a single one. But if I go back and now I'm going to count the number of those guys, starting with Briscoe, 1, Dewey, Crow, Jones, Blue, Carter, skipping Rayshawn Jenkins, skipping Taylor Gadbois, who I probably shouldn't, but I will anyway, Crawford, Davis, Dillard, Hope is 10, Dortch, Terry, Witt, skipping Gunner, O'Donnell's 14, Ivory's 15, Thompson, that's 16 of those guys in the same class. Nary a play to be found amongst them. There's your proof. There it is. And I'm so sorry, that's more the rule than the exception. But then you have other teams or other classes that are built the same way and saying, oh, it's going to be different. Seen that movie already, boss. But again, my @ on Twitter is @Underwood Sports. I dare and defy you, honestly and truly, I dare you and defy you to find or name the memorable play from any of those 16 guys in football for Miami. Hop in my mentions. I ain't got nothing but time. Let it ride. Send this to your friends. Talk in your group chat about it. Debate, discuss. Come back to me, whether it's next week, whether it's a week after, a month from now, after the Alabama game. I don't care. Let me know what the play is because it doesn't exist because we didn't have it from those guys. Now, from the top of that class, scroll. Duke Johnson, all-time career-leading rusher. Tracy Howard, 5-star. Jelani Hamilton. Wasn't as good as I thought he could be coming out of St. Thomas Aquinas, but he had a couple moments. Tyreek McCord, that's a good one. Deion Bush, that's a good one. Raphael Kirby, that's a good one. Eric Flowers, first-round draft pick, that's a good one. Malcolm Lewis, was starting as a true freshman, had the ankle thing, had a decent career, but not, the injury kind of curtailed that, but he still had some moments. Danny Isadora, again, I already mentioned, fifth-year senior, second team All-ACC. Herb Waters made plays. Oh, and then there's some other guys like Dwayne Hollett and Robert Lockhart who never did anything, and Earl Moore was kind of just a guy. But again, you got 4 or 5 guys at the top of the class in 16 to 17 to 18 who didn't do anything. And again, so this is going to be Cam's challenge this week. Find a play that any of those guys that I previously listed made that was memorable or impactful to a game in a positive way, to any game while they're here at Miami playing football. I dare and defy you. My mentions are open at Underwood Sports. Holla at me.
You just, in one class at least, substantiated the recruiting rankings. I thought when you started the exercise that you were running down Florida State's current class, which I'm looking at right now.
And that's why I did it that way, so that everybody went along that path, because I know everybody in the chat was like, oh, I'm going to shit on them. Oh, I'm going to talk bad. Da, 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 da. And then I hit you with the Matthew McConaughey from A Time to Kill, but imagine she was white. And so, whoa, what? I wasn't thinking that. Excuse me, I wasn't thinking that way. I did that intentionally. Yeah. And that's how very similar it is. So now Florida State, the correlation there is, if I didn't talk about that class, and the class that you have right now is very similar, henceforth, therefore.
It's not quite as bad. It's not quite as bad.
It's not. Because that was
from the bottom, you got 58 at the position, unranked nationally, 65 at the position, unranked nationally, 71 at the position, 889, 58 at the position, 562 nationally, 69 at the position, 458 nationally, 66 at the position, 449. And then you got 44 at the position, 448, 25 at the position, 447, and they're in that 440 range for quite a few before they finally break the 300. It takes a while. Yeah, they basically have 4 top 300 players. They're at 303 with number 5 as it stands right now.
And again, in that class for Miami, you had Duke Johnson, Tracy Howard, Jelani Hamilton, who was very highly touted coming out of Aquinas, Tyreek McCord, Deion Bush. You probably add in the Raphael Kirby, Eric Flowers, Malcolm Lewis. So, I mean, you're at 8 right there. So, again, very comparable.
So, Florida State doesn't get any more. They're at 18 hard commits. I don't know what the final number is going to be. It's not going to be that much higher, low 20s probably.
Yeah, and there will probably be churn.
Yeah, they're not going to get all those. But if you're, let's say, I'm not even going to go to the top of the chain, Georgia, Ohio State kind of classes. Go to like Penn State. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see numbers anywhere close to this on a Penn State commitment list.
Exactly.
All right. Santhosh asking, which 22 recruit do you think is strong possibly to Miami commit that is flying under the radar from us fans? We need some more names to get behind.
I mean, Markeith Williams, the safety. I mean, everybody knows Shamar Stewart. He's a top 10 player in America, so I wouldn't say him. Being underrated. Jaleel Skinner, the number 1 tight end in America. If you don't know him, you should. Anthony Lucas, 6'5", 300-ish defensive lineman, lives in Arizona now because his family moved, but he's of Haitian descent. So when his family immigrated from Haiti, they landed here in South Florida in one of the enclaves for Haitian Americans or Haitian immigrants before going out there. Maybe he's a guy who's not on the top of people's brain, who's a blue chip kid looking at, all big time kind of schools. So maybe he could be the guy. Because the other names you're going to know, like Julian Armella from Aquinas. If you don't know, now you know. But he's an offensive tackle. I'm not saying he's going to come here, but he's a guy that you should, whose name you should at least know if you're, a recruitment. Jaden Gibson, Wesley Besaint. Those are names you should know. Malik Agbo. Maybe Malik Agbo, since he's from Washington State. So he's not here all of the time. But maybe that's a name that's slipped by you. Devon Jackson from Omaha, the linebacker. Not saying that he's going to come here at all, but he's a guy who we've been connected to. So I would say maybe some names like that before the board really expands and whatnot. But and there's a defensive tackle who's like Canadian or French or something, and he moved down here. I forget his name, but that would be a good one if I found the name. I can't right now, but if I find it, I will let you know. That might be a good one to know. Maybe the Henderson twins, something along those lines. Jakari and Damari, if you're looking for their names.